Hey, it's Melissa from Kiwi Banana, and today I wanted to provide a overview of our stay in Dominican Republic. So it's just a general overview, and maybe just a few little things here and there that you may want to know if you're going to go there. We were in Dominican Republic for about a month. Most of that was in a town called Las Terrenas, or Las Terrenas, however you like to say it. And we spent one night in Santo Domingo right at the end. So Las Terrenas, where we were, is it's it's right next to the beach. There's many beaches, there's waterfalls, there's lagoons, there's places to walk around. If you want to go off out of high populated areas, you definitely can. And it's about 40,000 people there. It's a Dominican Republic is a Spanish-speaking country. However, in Las Terrenas there was also a lot of French. I think a lot of French people must retire there. And there's also a lot of Italian, so it's multilingual. So there's a lot of different, a lot of the people that you may come across while you're there that are not local, or they weren't born in the Dominican Republic. They could speak a number of different languages. You can come across the odd person that speaks English, which is great, but you may want to definitely brush up on a bit of Spanish, and if you know some French and Italian, that could get you far. Even some of the locals know some of the other languages as well. They probably, the locals that speak Spanish, probably more likely to know Italian or French than they are English. If you know anything, I guess, about languages, you'll know that Spanish language and French language very similar. So those two, can be quite easy to learn one and then learn the other. Or if you know one, and then you can pick up the other one reasonably easy. Now there's also a good highway between Las Terrenas and the capital Santo Domingo, so if you wanted to fly in there, the drive's actually quite smooth. Really, way better highways or even roads than in New Zealand. Like, it was top notch. The only thing is, if you don't take public transport, you will have to pay quite a bit in tolls to use the road. But that's up to you, how you want to travel and what are you willing to compromise or not compromise on. Now, I forgot to mention, when you first get into Dominican Republic, you will have to pay an entry fee, so you can get like a 30-day tourist card, depending on obviously what passport you're traveling on, what countries you have citizenship in. So we paid it's $10 to get in, and there's an exit fee. Usually that is paid for with your flight out, but you may want to check with your airline just to make sure. And so we found many things in Las Terrenas to be a lot more expensive than other areas in Dominican Republic, with the exception of the capital. I'm assuming the capital is quite expensive. And so I guess an example of that I could provide you of that is that the one guy tried to sell us 2 coconuts for 1,000 pesos, Dominican Republic pesos, and that is equivalent to $20 US. And in my currency that I'm used to using, that is equivalent to 30 New Zealand dollars. So it's very expensive, and no, we didn't end up. We weren't going to pay for that. We actually didn't even have any cash at the time. But then when we'd go to another area on the island, not in Las Terrenas, and you could get 2 coconuts for 5 pesos. There's a big difference between, someone telling you that it's 1,000 pesos to someone telling you it's 5 pesos. Although to some people, it's probably, if you're reasonably well off, you may not really care about that. So there is certain circumstances where, bargaining, bartering, doing deals, that sort of thing, can come in handy. So I guess, if there's a lot of you traveling, you might be able to say, oh, okay, so this is the price for one. What if it is, if there's 5 of us, or can you do a discount? Or in that case, if someone selling you some fruits and vegetables in a market stall, they're gonna, depending on the way you look, they're gonna, especially if you've got a skin color like mine, they're gonna bump the price up quite high. So you can, there's room for you to get down. And especially when, you know, they're telling you this, a price for something is, you know, the same or even more expensive than what you pay at home, you know, if, say you're living in New Zealand, then it's kind of a good indicator of, okay, that's definitely a bit, you know, a bit on the expensive side. And so obviously you know, you wouldn't go to a supermarket or like a legit brand store or something, and, you know, if the price says it's, you know, 1,000 pesos, then that is what you pay. But in other situations, you can. There is some room for moving on there. And I tell you what, if we paid what people told us, you know, their initial price, we probably might not even be able to be traveling now. You know. You know, it would have definitely cut our trip a lot shorter. So in Las Terrenas, and I'd imagine a lot of Dominican Republic, it's nice. You know, it's warm. Sometimes the internet and water supply is not great, but you got to remember things like electricity was only installed in Las Terrenas like within the last 15 years. So when, you know, when things are going good with those sort of, you know, that sort of infrastructure, then, you know, I guess you can just be grateful that it is going good, or be grateful for, you know, if it's better at home, you know, like when you get back home, be like, oh yeah, you know, like at least I've got a reasonably consistent supply of internet and power and, you know, and water. You know, back in my house at home, you don't, it's not like a necessity to have to buy water. It comes out of the tap, usually pretty clean. So that's something I can definitely be grateful for. The electricity also will depend on where you're staying. A lot of places, you know, if you've paid reasonable sort of money and it's not too much on the really, really cheap side, there will be things like backup generators. And if you paid a lot of money to stay at a place where you're at, you may even have access like to solar panels and things like that as well, because it's sunny a lot, except in the rainy season when we were there, but still really sunny even when it is wet season, in my opinion. You may see it from a different perspective. So I guess I just wanted to say that, you know, I guess I probably should cover a bit of Santo Domingo. It's much busier there. Obviously, it's a lot more supplies there. I mean, it's a city, it's the capital of the country. The roads are a little bit hectic, especially, sorry, got a wee tractor going on over there. I'm in Jamaica at the moment while I record this, out in a little wee township of like not even 100 people. There's a wee farmland next to me with some cows. Anyway, so yeah, the roads are a bit hectic, especially if you're going to drive on them or even just to try and cross the road. Kind of just got to get your head around how that all sort of works. And, you know, we stayed in the zone colonial, and so that's quite a nice area of Santo Domingo. Yeah, it's got a lot of sort of Spanish architecture. If you sort of read up a little bit on Dominican Republic, you'll discover that the Spanish come over here. And if you want to use colonize, you can use that word. Some people may use a different term to describe that point in the history. Anyway, and you know, you can find vegan food places or vegan friendly food places as well, which I was quite happy with. And you know, I guess all in all, Dominican Republic was good. It wasn't as cheap as what we were expecting. That is probably because we spent a lot of, you know, we spent most of our time in Las Terrenas, and also, you know, we had that one night in Santo Domingo. So those sort of places tend not to be as cheap. I know there are other areas that are quite expensive as well, and that's sort of the really touristy areas. However, when you get out in sort of the rural areas or the less touristy populated areas, and if you can speak Spanish, and I guess if, you know, if you were much darker skin than myself, you may be able to get things really, really cheap. But you know, it comes, you know, it's just, it doesn't, you know, for me to complain about my skin color in a country like that, it's, you know, it's not a good thing to complain about, because this gives me so many privileges and so many other areas in my, you know, in my life that I couldn't even comprehend, you know what I mean? And the same goes, you know, if you're watching this and you know, you are of a fairer skin, you know. That is a video for another day. Anyway, so I hope this was of some help to you. Share this with anybody that you know that might be traveling in that area, that way. And you know, and I'm continuing to record videos. You know, you'll be seeing the Jamaican ones, and I'll do an overview, of course, of my stay in Jamaica. We're going to be here for like a month. I'll see you again soon. I hope you've done something that makes you happy today. See ya.